Three, two, one. And welcome to the 38th episode of the ESOU podcast. Joining me, as always, is Olivo. And today we're featuring a very special guest who recently made the official ESO stream team at last. Right? Long time coming. JimmyJJShabadu, or as I like to call him, JimmyJJShabadu with the doop. So yeah, feel free to introduce yourself and for anyone who doesn't know you.
Well, hello, I'm JimmyJJShabadu. I play a lot of Elder Scrolls Online. I have been playing since launch, in fact, before then, even on beta, and have been enjoying the game throughout with very few breaks in between. Been mostly playing Nightblade. However, I've also branched out and played a whole bunch of different classes to the point where I've kind of play what I feel like at any given time and just try to learn as much as I can about the game.
Have you been playing Arcanist recently, this week?
Oh, yes. Very much.
How are you finding it?
I'm finding it very entertaining and very fun to engage with, especially the aiming of the various skills. It's a nice change of pace.
Yeah, I feel like the beam, it feels like, you know when you go to the bathroom and like you're peeing against the side of the toilet trying to like clean it off. It feels like using, you know. I think that's why it's so satisfying. I don't
there you go.
I see that there's a lot of collectibles in your background. I see the assembly journal,
yes.
I think that's a DC banner. Are you in the Blackwood thing, I think.
Yes, I got a few from various parts of the game. I've got the Blackwood, the Blackwood lithograph overlaying a Tiltify banner actually, and then an AD banner off to the right. So a lot of different things. I tend to play more AD when I do PvP, but when it comes to PvP in general, I'm more just free agent, as you'd like to say.
Okay. And do you have an EP banner? Out of curiosity.
Not here.
What?
all these like crestfallen.
Sorry, friend.
I know. Well, it's just with my Arcanist, I had to make it yellow to try and get that stupid achievement.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, I feel like just being a yellow, I feel like I die more easily. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's because we're all Khajiits that hide in stealth, and you know.
Yeah, they're all bananas, so they're all squishy.
That's the craziest thing. Like, I see AD players, and throughout like the years I played this game, it's usually just AD players, but they crouch right in front of you. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I just saw you crouch in front of me. What are you doing? It's every time it's an AD player. I don't get it. Is there something going on in AD zone chat? Like, you know?
I think maybe they don't understand how stealth works, perhaps.
Maybe.
Yeah. And they're all like Razumdar role players, aren't they? Something like.
Yeah.
Well, he's one of the coolest Khajiits.
Yeah. Have you been playing your Arcanist in PvP as well? Have you found a build or role that works for you?
I haven't been playing much in PvP yet. I've been mostly doing PvE stuff. PvP right now, I'm just kind of focusing more on just my main tune because he's very close to Grand Overlord, so been mostly focusing on him.
I guess how did you start streaming? Because you didn't mention that before.
Let's see here. Well,
ESO at least, or just streaming in general. I'm kind of curious. Whenever we have streamers on, I'm just like, well, how did you start? It's always different.
Mostly it would start it off as just a lark. I started off just kind of watching Twitch in general and kind of getting into the speedrunning aspects of, like, say, SMB and whatnot. So I would watch a lot of that, but I really wouldn't participate. And then I noticed through the ESO beta, they were recommending during the second one that, hey, feel free to stream it if you like. So I kind of looked into building just basically a profile and live streaming, and that kind of leads into my silly name here. This is like, I need a name for Twitch, and you know, back then I kind of put my different names on different accounts to kind of, you know, just make it harder for people to hack accounts and whatnot. So it's like, well, I need a name. It's like, well, what's the worst name I've ever heard? And then what popped in my head next was like the the old joke from The Simpsons where Homer goes into the bar and talks to Moe, the bartender, about some marital problems he's having. It's like, I've got this friend. His name is Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadu. And then Moe just like slaps back at him saying, that's the worst name I've ever heard. And then somebody from the bar gets up and starts running out bawling, and the Barney calls out after him, hey, Joey Jojo, come back. So... So I took that and my name and kind of meshed the two. So I got JimmyJJShabadu from that.
Okay.
So why I began streaming was mostly just, that was kind of a on the lark kind of thing. Excuse me, had a wrong.
Is there something?
That's that's a long time. It's almost 10 years. Then you've probably been streaming.
Yeah, and I took a long break between that. So after that, it was just like, well, that was interesting and whatnot. And kind of just took a long break from there until roughly, I want to say it was around the Thieves Guild era, where my guild was pushing for the hard mode in Vet Mob Lurkage.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to get some ideas like where we could improve. So a few of us would either live stream or record our sessions so we could play back later and see maybe where we could improve while we were dying. It was a pretty difficult trial back then. So and like I remember the first night I came back to it, I was starting my night basically on a sorcerer. It was the first time I'd played Sorc. We're trying to do an all mag build. Just basically groups so that way we could handle backroom a bit more effectively. And somebody just blurted out in chat, you really suck at playing Sorc. And it's like, I realized that. This is my first day. It's my first day. Literally my first day. I just got...
Yeah.
So after that, I understandably took a much longer break from streaming. And then kind of got encouraged to take it back up after... meeting and interacting with Ninja 614, who I think it was about the time when we were starting to do community night dungeon nights, where we would do dungeon runs with folks. It was him, myself, and at the time it was one other. We were trying to figure out, okay, well, how could we make this more entertaining? Well, like maybe multiple points of view, so each of us would like stream our runs, and that's kind of how I slowly got back into streaming, is through just doing like one night every other Friday night, and it grew into 5 days now. So it took about 5 years to get there, though.
Crikey, wow. And what do you do do you do trials every night, or do you do? I assume you mix things up a bit.
Mix it up a little bit. So usually Friday nights we'll be doing dungeons. More recently, I've been doing trials on Thursday nights with Maddie's group whenever they need a fill.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday nights I kind of mix it up between PvP, trials, and then just kind of a hodgepodge of community interaction. I always like to try to bring people into trials and dungeons and kind of show them the ropes. So that was mostly my my Saturdays, and then Sundays and Mondays are more the focused face, kind of like, okay, let's prog 4-player dungeons and try to get their trifectas and whatnot. We got all of them as of a few months back, so we ended up swapping into doing a Unchained prog in what do you call it, Black Rose Prison, and we knocked that out in a couple months too, including the really difficult achievement of
thrilling trifecta one.
Yeah, that one.
It's way tougher than getting actual Unchained. It's crazy.
It is crazy hard. Yeah.
I feel like they kind of did that with Dreadcell Reef as well. There's a achievement for Swashbuckler where you need to keep all those mages alive on the last boss. It's mad. It takes longer to prog that than hard mode for sure.
I can imagine. Yeah, I think next week we might be starting a Dreadcell prog, so I'm not sure if we're going to go directly for Swashbuckler, but I think we're probably going to start with the hard mode and see where we land.
Yeah. Have you tried the new trial yet? Because I feel like that might be a little bit easier than Swashbuckler, apparently, from the people that have done the hard modes of both.
I've gone in there maybe 3 times total, so mostly on vets. Actually, a few times before that on normal as well, but yeah, I haven't really been pushing for achievements there yet, but looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so crazy that 2 groups got the trifecta on day 1. They must have played an awful lot on the PTS.
I can imagine, yeah. It takes
crazy.
a lot of practice.
We had a day 1 trifecta for VK, remember?
Yeah, and then Pathfinders, my guild, we got the first one on EU 2 weeks later because we're casual like that.
Yeah. There's only, basically it. Do you have a preference for any role, Jimmy, out of curiosity?
Generally damage dealer, although I find myself sometimes that's my weakest compared to some of the other people. I just have to just take it back when I watch other people who can parse like just insanely amounts, and like me, I'm just here with my almost arthritic hands, just trying to keep up. And it's like, all right, I pulled 12%. I'm doing my due minimum, and it's like I haven't. But then I see somebody like parsing way above me. And it's like, oh man, I envy you, and I can't wait to learn what your secrets are. But yeah, tank would probably be one of the roles that I play a lot of. Sometimes consensually, sometimes I get bullied into it, but I'll do it. And I don't get asked to play a lot of healer, so I'm a little bit weak on the healer side, but I do play healer from time to time.
Yeah. Now, I have a suspicion that most DDs could probably play healer because it's quite similar. It's like the same sort of rhythm. It's just very slightly different role. I mean, do you find yourself having to wear the support sets if you're not like the strongest DD? I feel like that happens to me quite a few times.
On occasion, it really depends. Like during our Sunspire prog, I think we just ended up doing. We did a mostly heavy attack Sork run just to see how it would work out. Worked out really well, surprisingly. The funniest part is that all the DDs were running fight. It was just kind of funny and fun, but yeah, I'll definitely wear the support sets whenever asked, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I had a little hiccup on my end.
Yeah, I think you froze, Nephis.
Yeah. There's a little
That's
hiccup.
fine.
It's okay. Got most of it. But yeah, so do you have any, like, because I've been seeing a lot of turbulency, I'm sure you have as well, in the streaming space, especially with Twitch and all that. I guess, kind of want to pick your brain on this. Do you have any advice for streamers or upcoming streamers?
Don't give up your day job.
Yeah.
Kind of where I'm at right now. Myself included. I still work a 9 to 5 as a software engineer. That's my primary time-consuming thing. But I also find myself at a point where it's like I really like to do more, but there's just not enough hours in the day. So if I go one route, I'm probably going to end up hurting out on another route. So I'll have to make a decision at some point. But seriously, though, I think that if you're looking to do it as a hobby to get going, definitely do that. Start off small, build things up incrementally, and just try to make sure that you're serving your audience over you're serving yourself in terms of making sure that they're having fun, enjoying it, and always take feedback especially with a grain of salt, because you got to have a thick skin when it comes to getting feedback, especially of the unhelpful variety. It's like sometimes it's helpful to take that charged negative feedback and see if you can pull all that charged rhetoric out of it and see if there's like a grain of something you can use in terms of like helping to improve yourself. But don't like dwell on the negative, for sure. Make sure you're adhering to basically helping out folks where you can, and I think you can go far.
I agree.
Yeah. It does seem like it's getting more and more difficult to make a living from Twitch. I mean, I'm with you. I don't think I would do it as a full-time thing, not unless you felt sort of really secure in how much you were making from it.
For sure, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I think Twitch is definitely going down the toilet. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I feel like you need to like diversify, really.
Yeah.
Making YouTube videos, having a website, all that kind of stuff to supplement the Twitch income. I don't think you can really make a living just from Twitch. And even if you do, like, 50% of your cut goes to Twitch, which is just such a big kick in the face.
It goes to Jeff Bezos, yeah. So on that note, in terms of like diversifying content, because you mentioned you kind of started out streaming due to the VMod progression to also show, I guess, and in a way teach in some ways, right?
Yes.
Have you dabbled in build videos or anything like that, or websites? Or...
Someplace where I'd like to go eventually. Again, time is really of the essence, and
I mean 9 to 5 software engineer.
Yeah, and on top of that, the 9 to 5 usually turns into like 9 to 9 and then some, because when it comes to like either a release or something breaking, it's like, okay, you're basically on the clock 24 until you can get things working, and it's it can be stressful at times for sure, especially on-call weekends where it's like you never know if you're going to get a call. You might get no calls. You might get a call every hour, and it's like, how do you keep that energy up when you're doing a call every hour versus like getting woken up in the middle of the night to try to solve a problem? It's like, I love learning new stuff for sure, but I don't like learning it at 3 a.m. after I got up from just basically an hour and a half of sleep.
Yeah. Stuff's tough.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely wish there were more hours in the day. It's exhausting. It takes a mental toll on you, especially like presenting and stuff.
Yes.
It's not as simple as, I mean, some people think you're just sort of sitting down playing video games, but it's draining, definitely.
For sure. It's you've got
having
the
that sort of public persona kind of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience for sure, because you got the stream of input coming from chat. You may have some side conversations with somebody else while you're working something out. You might be looking something up at the side because you can't remember it, or like last night, I just ended up in this weird sense of like brain fog where it's like, okay, I'm trying to remember what I'm trying to say and I can't say it. So I'm just going to try to dance around the subject until I can nail it, and then finally nail it.
Yeah. I mean, you could also, like, I know what a lot of people do, which Nefas does as well, is you can clip parts of your Twitch streams and then upload it straight to YouTube and just stick I want to say header and footer, that's not what I mean, intro and outro on it. And then slowly sort of build up a YouTube following from there.
Yeah, I think I might try something like that in the future for sure.
What was your, I guess, journey to ESO Stream Team? If you don't mind me asking.
Let's see.
Because I know, I mean, it's been so long, because I feel like you definitely deserve to be on the stream for a while.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I'm kind of curious.
It was definitely one of, try to get at least a feel or following for where I am in the community. And oftentimes, I still feel like somehow compared to like what everybody else is doing, I do.
Is Discord just?
And
oh, there we go. Sorry,
go ahead.
My thing cut out. My thing cut out again. Oh, I don't know why. This was scuffing.
I think it's compared to the rest of the community, I feel ...
Right.
Okay. You hear me all right now?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
All right. Let's try this over again. So yeah, I feel like compared to the rest of the community, especially the community at large that does content, like I produce relatively little, although I stream an awful lot of hours. But from like my journey started off roughly as just me kind of contributing where I could, and then just being given the earworm from several people, including Ninja and Madigan and a few others. Like, you really should try it out. Go try out for the stream team. Just put your name in the hat and see what happens. It's like, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. And that was roughly the first time I put in for it was like 3 years ago, and it's like, well, this will never happen, I'm pretty sure. But I'll at least give it a go, and I'll take whatever feedback I can get from that and try to work with it. So, and then I would put in for it again, and oftentimes, every time I put in for it, I would find out like later on when they announced it, like, well, I guess I just I didn't get it, so I'll keep tooling around, seeing what I can do to help out. But never really ended up being like the end goal for anything. It was just more along the lines of I'd like to try out because I'd like to be able to bring more of an audience to what I'm doing, and I'd also like to help where I can in terms of like bringing the community together, helping out with fundraising for various projects, and just kind of do what I'm doing now, which is just moving forward with what I can and building incrementally. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this is where I first came across you as well, was fundraising. So I know you fundraise for St. Jude and with Streamers for Charity as well. I think you must have joined around, well, it's kind of when it started really, which must have been about 4 years ago.
Just about then, yeah. I think at the time it was Queen of Stars who was doing the organization, and I think we were doing. I know we were doing like Feed the Children and things like that for COVID relief and whatnot. So it was, and that's also a part of the journey. There is just coming in to streaming at a time when we were just basically getting locked down. We didn't have a lot of social interaction, and that's kind of when I started like growing my stream. Was more. I felt like I had no social interaction. I mean, I'd be interacting with people from work, but it's like all they really want to do is like they'll send you an IM saying, "Hey, here's your assignment for the week. Get it done." And it's like, oh, great, human social contact. But yeah, the strange how I grew into the streaming realm, but that was kind of like my outlet at the time, really, for social interaction, and just kind of blossomed from there.
Yeah, I feel like we've had a lot of great streamers coming from that sort of time, because he had the sort of perfect combination of everyone having a lot of time, so streamers could stream a lot, and there was an audience there literally just sitting at home waiting with nothing to do. Sort of like golden generation for a bit. I think we should have another global pandemic and
What?
get some more. I don't know. I mean, I don't leave the house anyway. I wouldn't even notice.
Oh, well, another one. Oh.
I'm good. I'm okay with the one, and even not so much okay with the one.
Yeah.
One's enough for me. Let's put it that way.
True. But yeah, 3 years, man. I asked because there are, of course, people being rejected this time around as well. I think also it was the first time that they sent back something about being rejected for this time around. For the first time.
Yeah.
I didn't get anything.
You didn't? Whoa, I don't know. That's what I heard around the grapevine.
My application was lost in the mail, I'm sure. It's fine.
How many times have you tried? Out of curiosity.
Me?
This is second?
Third.
Third. Yeah, it took me.
It's strange, but I mean, like they have me on their have us on their Bethesda stream every year, which is quite nice. But then, not allowed in the stream team. Not all the time, mind, because like you say, it's not the be all and end all. I don't make a living from Twitch or anything, so it doesn't affect my livelihood. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It took me 4 or 5 times, I think, or something like that. I think. Not sure. Somewhere around
You
there.
applied 4 or 5?
Yeah, at least. I don't know why the thing keeps bugging out.
Lots of both of you now.
I think there's something wrong with Discord because it just keeps like pausing.
Yeah,
and
lots
freezing.
of both of you this time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but hopefully it settles down. Oh, but yeah, at least 4 or 5 times. And also, I told Nelly this too because she also got in there, and I was like, it's not the end game. It's like the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So don't just stop here. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about today? We could talk about like Necrom. We could talk about Arcanist. Just any issues in ESO you feel like?
Yeah, I feel like this happens sort of every big patch. A lot of old players start coming back, and I wonder whether this time they're gonna like stick around. I feel like the people that came back for High Isle maybe stayed like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But this time with new class, the trial is kind of at a level that it appeals to most people. People that can do Planesbreaker or Godslayer could probably get the trifecta in this one. I don't know, I'm hopeful that more people might stay. and the raiding community will get a bit healthy. I mean, what do you guys think?
On that one, on that topic,
Mm.
I would say I'm gonna be brutally honest here. I think Necrom had a lot of potential as a expansion compared to especially High Isle or Blackwood, right? It's a new class after all, and it's been how many years? 4 years at least since the last class came out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the Arcanist is something people are enjoying, and I think there's a lot of people still that are underplaying it as like weak or whatever. I don't know. That's a different story. I think Diablo 4 launching in the same exact day
Oh yeah.
and week as ESO definitely dampened Necrom. And this is me talking about from like a content creator perspective in terms of like numbers and metrics. So I think there's no way ESO can compete with Diablo 4. You know, you have to accept that, Ollie. I can see the disgust in your eyes as you think about it.
I never played 1, 2, or 3.
What?
So
You've never played Diablo?
I played Torchlight, which is like the same.
No, it's not the same. Get the heck out of here, bro. But anyway.
I played Baldur's Gate. That's kind of the same.
Maybe. Bothered.
I had Baldur's Gate 1 on 5 discs.
Okay.
In the 90s.
You said about Baldur's Gate 3 then?
Yeah. When they actually release it, I don't really want to play
this year.
Half finished. If they actually released it?
They're actually releasing it.
No, but have they released it now?
No, but they are releasing it.
Well, okay. I'll play it when it's finished.
But as much as we all love ESO here, I don't like, because I saw people talking about it in ESOU in the server the other day. Some guy was like trying to compare ESO and Diablo and saying, "Oh man, they're competing." And I'm just thinking to myself, "You dumb idiot."
I guess people can only play one at a time.
Well, how can you compare ESO to Diablo, bro? You can't. It's insane. It's like comparing a gun to a stick. It doesn't make sense. No, you can't compete. There's absolutely no way. The value of Diablo as an IP and in terms of their marketing, it's just incomparable. Like ESO is. Yeah. And then you have things like Zelda. I don't know if you guys played the recent one yet.
Cheers, yeah.
And then there's Final Fantasy 16 coming out. And we just watched Starfield Direct right before this podcast. And it's like, I think this was not a good year for Necrom from that perspective, if that makes sense, you know.
Definitely a good year to play games. Let's put it that way. There's a lot of new stuff coming out there for sure. But yeah, it seems like the field is so wide. There's also things that appeal to all different people. But
yeah, but
In
response to Ollie's kind of thinking about old players coming back, I think based on people I've talked to, they'll come back maybe because a lot of them are still after update 35 last year, which was terrible. They're like still playing other games besides ESO. They're playing like Lost Ark, they're playing WoW, they're playing BDO, or waiting for other MMOs, or they have, and I think some of them might come back this time around, and some already have come back. But with the new trial being, of course, and this is good. This is a good thing. A little easier than VDSR and VRG. You're not gonna see a long-term retention. So especially with Starfield and all these other games coming out, there's no way. So I just had this feeling that ESO is going to see a very sudden drop in activity when Starfield comes out. For sure. On every end.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean they've got the same sort of fan base really, but I don't think people are going to play Starfield forever.
I mean,
it'll be like a couple of months whilst they finish the main quest, and then they'll come back.
So Todd Howard, in an interview, he said he wanted to make Starfield like Skyrim, a game that you could play for a decade. I think most of that will come from modding in the modding community.
Yeah.
But I think, after that Starfield Direct, they have a lot. It looks like they have a lot at least. So I wager that's at least maybe half a year. At least. For everything, like content creation, retention. Yeah.
I mean, I could see the modding community taking off and running with it, especially if they have a pretty open sandbox on the development side as well. So it's just a matter of like what comes out and what people can come up with, for sure.
Are you gonna play Starfield?
Probably, yeah.
How about you, Ollie?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really been that interested in sci-fi, but I mean, I always enjoy Bethesda games. I never played Fallout 70 something 6.
76.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm sure I'll give Starfield a go when it goes on sale or something. But I can't see myself stopping playing Elder Scrolls Online. To be anything.
Same, yeah.
But I know there's periods where, like, you know, if I've done all the achievements and whatever, that I play less ESO.
Right.
Like, I still log in like every day and just do a couple of things and then go and play something else or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what effect that kind of gameplay has on the Elder Scrolls Online ecosystem.
Yeah, we'll see. I think ESO is definitely. I don't know. That's my opinion. I think ESO is gonna suffer a bit. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I think I'll be on maintenance mode personally. Like, I'll log in maybe like for core, if there's still core at that point, you know. And,
yeah. I felt this has been happening for like 4 or 5 years, but I think it happens in every sort of MMO that the people that raid at that very top level, they literally just come on for raids and they don't actually play the game other than that. So there's sort of very few people that play the game and play all the aspects of the game, I think.
Yeah. But I think, especially with things like Starfield or Diablo, it's just not barely appealing to stay on ESO, you know, if you want to keep growing, that is. That's just me.
I think it comes back to, again, diversification, as you mentioned earlier, not only in content, but in content and in form.
Yeah.
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 But
I can see
maybe
people.
like, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say like Starfield's probably like a good transition because so we've got this sort of similar fan base, both being Bethesda games. You know, that might be a sort of good opportunity to start sort of branching out if we were feeling like ESO was like suffering a little.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like thinking out loud about what I'm going to do with ESO. Maybe just some build videos, website, work. And that's really it. Oh,
Yeah.
I
You're going to turn into
Patch
Outcast.
Notes review.
Never see him play the game.
Maybe. Not at that level yet with our websites. So, yeah. God, I kind of want to vent about Twitch because we were talking about content creation and being a Twitch streamer and this journey to use a stream team. I don't know what that's going to look like, but yeah.
The eruption after their changes to the brand policy as well as to the ULA, just kind of like, okay, where did this come from? But some of us probably saw it before others, but it just seemed like it came way out of left field and almost felt like maybe they channeled a bit of Wizard of the Coast energy when it came to their cracking down on content creators.
Yeah, IP protection.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's something that's going to affect you a lot, Jimmy?
It's hard to say. I mean, from my perspective, I haven't done a lot of branded streams. I mean, my first one was basically this past week with Necrom.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, imagine me as like, oh, hey, this is first time I ever got a chance to really do such a thing, and had a the lower third icon, and then I see in their updated branded document, it's like, oh, you can't use these kind of lower third icons anymore. It's like, oh gosh, I'm pretty sure this wasn't here last week, so I'm pretty sure I negotiated in good faith. But at the same time, it's like, wow, this can turn on a dime, and you're really kind of beholden to the platform in terms of like what you're allowed to do, and that can change on a whim, it seems. So that's very disconcerting.
Yeah. Well, another thing, I don't know whether you guys use it, is Twitch Soundtrack is closing next month, which is very annoying because I liked that it could sort of display the music that's playing without having to put it into your UI. Like it would just have it there. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, Twitch's priorities, they're very strange people. I feel like Twitch is quite volatile, I feel. a lot like Twitter at the moment.
Mm.
The company's sort of direction is confusing, frustrating, doesn't help the people that are trying to make a living from it.
It doesn't seem like there's just been like this rash of companies really trying to make a quick buck off of like changes to terms. Like, I mean, we had Twitter with the closing of their APIs and all whatnot. Twitch recently with their content 360, and then I think just most recently Reddit was also announcing that they're trying to close their API, or at least make it pay for.
Oh yes, yeah.
Reddit,
Yeah. They wanted to stop third-party apps from doing Reddit. And then, the license for it was billions of dollars or something. Which is wild.
Yeah, I found Reddit to be really wild because I thought at one point they were fairly profitable, but I guess it's because their IPO. They might be pushing for more valuation. I don't know, but
yeah.
I forgot to ask this earlier, but like, what exactly entails being a software engineer?
It's a very iterative development process. I work in financial software, so oftentimes it'll start off with like we have like a 3-week sprint where we'll start working on code for the stuff we researched the sprint prior, give that to QA, and then start researching ahead for the next part of our iteration, which will be like maybe we might add certain fields to our database, or we might end up doing like a more holistic change to a particular program or particular feature. So oftentimes it's a combination of like research, software writing, documentation, unit and automation testing, and just kind of working down that path in an iterative way. So if we ever find a problem, then that's about trying to research like what are the inputs to that problem, how we can mitigate it or work around it. So it's more research than software writing, it feels at some points, especially when it comes to like trying to figure out what a legacy system is doing under the hood, especially one that's been around for years. So and then also working on newer stuff as well. So it's yeah, I can't get too deep into that rabbit hole, but it's.
I mean, yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I guess if anything, coming into it like almost 18 years ago now, because gosh, I've been in software engineering since I almost graduated from college. It just has taken such a strange turn because a lot of times you might come into before you would come into a shop and they would have like a waterfall approach where they try to do like all of the coding, testing, and everything done in a very large block, and then at the end you present something to the customer or to the customer representative, and then they say, "No, this is completely wrong. Do it over." It's like, oh shit. Whereas in like moving to a more agile process, there's more interaction with the customer early on, trying to get dial in what the requirements are, trying to get some feedback on things that are like UI elements or even like business logic that they might need. So it's a lot more like quick iterative steps with small changes, or as small as you can get them, so that way people have time to review them, do their own work, and also present to the vendor or the user what's changing, and get more feedback, and just kind of build up the process as we go. So sometimes it feels slow, sometimes it feels really fast. It really depends on how well we know the product, so, and how well we can quickly adapt to it changes.
Have you found that AI has been making a big difference? Because I mean that's all the rage the last year or so.
I don't think it's hit my part of the industry yet, but it's definitely hitting other industries in different ways. Since my particular industry, finance, tends to want more, fully baked and stable products. I think that maybe they're seeing it as an interesting thing to keep an eye on, but haven't been leaning on it heavily other than just to see what it does and how we can leverage it in the future.
Yeah. Do you think AI is more likely to replace you as a software maker or as a streamer?
Possibly.
I mean, oh my God.
I mean, there are AI streamers right now.
No way.
Yeah.
That sounds awful. Like, can I get like an AI hot tub waifu or something?
I'm sure you could.
Probably could.
So an AI Jesus streamer. You just like ask him to describe things. I don't know. It's just interesting.
Oh my
You
god.
ask Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called Ask Jesus.
Yeah, it's wild the ways that AI has pervaded and sometimes even convoluted things. I was just watching. I follow a law streamer, Legal Eagle, and they were going over like
Oh yeah.
the Shadow Mensch of basically having they were feeling bad for the folks who were basically getting just sanctioned for their use of ChatGPT in trying to research a legal thing and not being able to do the basic legal stuff that they need to do in order to like prove that like a particular decision existed. And so it's like, my goodness, it's like applying that to like software engineering, where like depending on the place you're in, whether or not you're like in medical or if you're financial, you make a mistake, you're you're in big trouble. You make a huge mistake, yeah, you're you're done. So want to make sure that when you're bringing something like that has kind of been unproven or untested, that you start small and don't go big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a tricky area. So, I mean, like in my day job, I do a lot of digital marketing, and I do use ChatGPT to sort of give me some ideas, but I don't think I would just copy paste something straight from ChatGPT and put it out into the world. It's more a sort of, you need to work with AI rather than letting AI replace you.
Exactly.
I think when we talk about AI replacing jobs, I think it's more like we should learn how to use AI.
Yeah.
Like the villager in his cart that delivers, iron ore to the blacksmith, getting replaced by the guy with the truck. The guy with the horse just needs to learn how to drive a truck rather than giving up.
Yeah.
I think.
Learn to use the tool and how it might augment your current processes, and then build from there.
For sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
I find it's very useful in writing tweets to a character limit, actually, because I'm far too verbose for Twitter. I think it's like, right, write me a tweet. Try and summarize this in 300 characters or less.
And that's a pretty novel use, actually, considering I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. Or you could just buy Twitter Blue like Nefus and just tweet as much as you like.
It's a lot of. I don't know if the character limit's worth it. I got
Really?
mainly for the video upload.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And also, Twitter is gonna become like, I think in some parts, a streaming platform. So
Yeah, that's
could
interesting.
simulcast to Twitter, YouTube, Kick, whatever platform when you're not streaming on
Kick.
Twitch. Yeah, you want to talk about Kick?
Oh, not KIK kick like the
No. Yeah. Most people say KIK, but I'm talking about Kick as in like the action of kicking somebody. Yeah, KICK.
the one that looks exactly like Twitch,
It
but it's
is.
a slightly
Yeah,
different color.
yeah, it's essentially a Twitch clone. And the funniest part is they claim that they're competing against Twitch, but in terms of, I'm pretty sure they're depending on AWS and Amazon servers. So technically, they're paying Twitch to compete with Twitch.
Right.
The joys of cloud development. It's like eventually you're paying the piper, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, but yeah, that's another one. And then it's like, I don't know. There's like some other platforms people have told me about, but when I look into it, those platforms are pretty shady, even shadier than Kick. In my opinion.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
TikTok Live.
that's short form, which is fine to simulcast to when you're streaming on Twitch, but I don't know how to set that up on a technical level.
It's also in the wrong orientation.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, it's vertical.
God, can you imagine having to stream Elder Scrolls Online in vertical? That would be awful. It would be so bad.
That's an option too. Yeah. Yeah. But do you have any insights into, I guess, any of this, like Twitch or whatever, as a software engineer, out of curiosity?
Namely,
Namely,
outside of Like in what perspective, I guess?
Oh, I don't know, like why they're doing the things they are, or if the implementations they're doing with their I guess features is good. I don't know, just anything, I guess, from a software perspective.
Generally, it would probably be driven by the higher ups more than anything, because as like a in the trenches kind of software engineer, you're kind of beholden to the customer or the manager in terms of what your next project's going to be. So if Bezos says bark, you bark. You just point a direction, we'll start barking. But beyond that, yeah, the biggest things I think are, what is it that your company feels their customer is, and delivering value to them. That's basically what your objective is as a software engineer, and that's the big question: is what do they feel their customer really is? Is it so much the viewer? Is it the streamer? Is it some combination therein, or is it the shareholders? And oftentimes it's the shareholders that win out. That's the thing.
I'm assuming you have a lot of personal experience with that. Or no?
Here and there. I mean, I can't really get into the deep and gritty of it for sure, but it's like depending on the day, it might be that you're serving the shareholders in such a way that you may have to take a personal cut out of something in order to get something else done.
Okay.
So it's like, maybe you have a passion project you have to put behind, or maybe the company isn't doing well, so they may have to cut back on wages for a bit, but then turn around and buy something else. It's like, oh, neat.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder whether it's a case of sort of Twitch getting too big, and this is why we're getting other people competing, and Twitch being like the sort of having the monopoly on streaming for so long that they're getting a little bit greedy, and now sort of seeing other people trying to chip away at it and offer something better for less.
I think they're probably taking like the wrong approach to like what competition is. Usually when it comes to competition, you want to like try to either create some sort of value or incentive that keeps people like engaged in your product, and that's what your rivals are going to be doing to try to pick at you. So it's a matter of like not just leaning on the namespace, but also working on improving that and keeping that up. And I think Twitch has not really done a really good job of like serving their customers. Customer service is like the number one thing. Making sure that the customer is happy is a big thing. And that includes the streamers, that includes the viewers, because a lot of folks are just getting frustrated about like being chipped away at by ad revenue requests that seem just completely and arbitrary. And I don't see a lot of that from the affiliate space, but I'm sure the partners are just going crazy with all the changes lately.
Yeah, I definitely just can't see what they're doing as being long-term good, or even short-term good.
Yeah, it's very strange to make that kind of a decision and then have to 360 on it, because they just had too much feedback, but I'm not sure which channel spoke louder to them. Was it us? Was it advertisers? Who knows?
I think it was themselves. Okay. Do you know what the changes were, Ollie?
Well, I saw the stuff they posted on Twitter about the advertising, right? Was there more than that just got sent to partners?
Yeah, there's a lot more besides the ad guidelines. So the branded ad guidelines they tried to put out for July 1st, they've kind of reverted or whatever, gotten rid of. But basically, it's like if you get a sponsorship and the sponsor asks you to put their logo or product placement on your stream, it can't be more than 3% of your screen size.
How many pixels is that for 1080p? It's like...
It's like 57 by 58 or something.
No, I have it. I have a video of it.
Okay.
But other than that, there's also the fact that they're not allowing certain ads to be ran on like in certain formats, like in audio or in video ads. which is a big deal because while not every streamer runs in audio or in video ads, there are certain kinds of streamers that do. Podcasters have in audio ads. Their definition of in video ads or burnt in ads are a little weird, loose, vague, to the point where even like a graphic pop-up could count as a burned in video ad technically. And then you have to think about like esports. You have to think about the companies or charity organizations and all that need sponsors to, run things. And if you ever watch an esports stream, whether it's for League of Legends or whatever, or Counter-Strike, you'll always see a video ad during their stream from like, I don't know, Buffalo Wild Wings or whatever, or Costco. And so that counts as not being allowed. Because what Twitch is trying to do is they're like, whoa, you're running ads while you're streaming without us running the ads. You know how people always get interrupted by those Twitch ads? They're not sub to the channel. They make money from that, but they don't make money from sponsors putting their stuff directly into the stream. So they want to be the middleman because they have this new system coming out to the where they want to streamline sponsorships through their system, which means they get a cut as a middleman. So that was the ad guidelines, which made no sense. And there were also like ways to circumvent it by putting product placements behind you as a part of your background, like what Jimmy has. If he's advertising for the Daggerfall Covenant, he can't put the Daggerfall Covenant logo on his screen, at least at more than 3% of the screen. But he can put the Daggerfall Covenant flag in the background of his camera.
You found me out.
Yeah.
But it would be 25 by 25 pixels.
So I looked it up again. A 3% logo ad on a 1080p stream is 332 pixels by 187 pixels.
What?
Yeah, it's really small.
That's 3%.
It's really small. I could share. Here,
we'll put one on the VOD. We'll put our podcast logo that we don't have. Oh no, we do have.
Yeah, I sent you.
We'll make it tiny.
Here, I sent you a screenshot.
It's the top left one.
All right, the top. Yeah, I'll send Jimmy too. So top left one.
Oh.
What
What have you pressed? No.
I didn't do anything.
You broke it. Oh.
I didn't do anything.
No. Oh no.
Discord just flipped out on us. Sorry.
Yeah, Discord just. Yeah. But yeah, I sent you both a screenshot. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. You could probably maybe only make out about like 8 characters, 10 characters, if you're going to write something in that.
Yeah. But that,
Jesus.
apart from that took most people's attention, but what people weren't paying attention to were the terms of service updates. So previously, if you, I guess, what was it? That wasn't an affiliate. You want to, like, you went inactive or whatever, or you want to terminate your agreement. It's like $25 maintenance fee to delete your account. So they dock the $25 from your potential payout. And now this time they worded it around to the point where both partners, affiliates, plus people who are not affiliate or partnered, also get affected by this. So if you want to terminate your agreement as a Twitch partner or Twitch affiliate, you have to essentially pay $25.
I mean, a Twitch really that tight for money that they need to do
That's
this?
what I'm saying.
Is this just like squeezing every last drop out of everyone?
I mean, that's what people keep telling me, that Twitch is always in the red with the streaming. I guess I don't know how much bandwidth. I guess it must be tremendous amounts of bandwidth and server costs, right? But then at the same time, they're owned by Amazon? Question mark. You know, so it's like, what's going on here?
It almost seems like they're doing kind of like the Hollywood approach to financiering, where they try to lowball their talent by basically buying their own ad content from their subsidiaries, as opposed to saying that they in-house the thing.
Right. And that termination thing, by the way, it's not dependent upon you terminating it. It's also or them terminating it. So, and why would they terminate it? Well, the conditions are really vague as well there. They want you to provide a consistent amount of live streaming. What does consistent mean? They want you to engage with your audience. What does that mean by engaging with the audience? So what about Twitch channels like Bob Ross? You know, where he's just painting video all day. You know, what about that Twitch
I'm
channel?
sure people can like pay bits to like do something. Does that count as?
But yeah, exactly. They don't define that.
Yeah,
They don't define any of that. So they can terminate your agreement anytime they want, for literally any reason, and they charge you for it for $25.
That's wild.
Yeah,
The end game, they're just basically going to close everybody's accounts and deduct $25 from everybody.
that's pretty funny. And then the last thing was, of course, the exclusivity clause for simulcasting. So they'll still allow you to simulcast to short form platforms like Instagram and TikTok while you're streaming to Twitch, but they will not allow simulcasting to any other platform like YouTube, Kick. What's that one people keep bringing up, Rumble or whatever? I don't know. Pornhub, whatever. You can't do that, right? So
Do they have live streams? Okay.
now that was a case for affiliates and partners, but now they've made it so it's everybody. So people who got rid of their partnership or affiliateship essentially did it for no reason in the end, because they wanted to simulcast on all platforms at the same time while streaming Twitch.
Yeah,
So
even
that-
if you're not making money from Twitch, they still want exclusive.
Exactly. So it's an exclusivity contract without payment. And
Is that really beneficial for them? I can't see how they benefit from that. Having less people streaming.
I guess less cost, less bandwidth is being spent, right? Less server stress. But at the same time, it doesn't make sense. Like, would you choose just one platform to stream on or multiple platforms to stream on at the same time? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I still feel like Twitch have a lot of the monopoly. I mean, especially in the Elder Scrolls space. I don't know if there's really any YouTube Elder Scrolls streamers. I mean,
You
sure
mean
there
like drops or whatever?
Yeah, well, I mean
that's a big
like
thing too. Yeah,
integration.
Yeah.
I think drops in the stream team system are the only things keeping Twitch attractive at this point.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got these brand deals, I think you're kind of stuck with what platform you're streaming on, because you're at the mercy of whoever's funding you. They tell you, where to stream. It's going to be very tricky moving on.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's basically what's happening with Twitch.
Jeez.
They have altered the deal. Pray they don't alter it any further.
Yeah, basically. Darth Vader.
Oh man. I did see didn't Skinny Cheeks do like a YouTube
Yeah, he did a giveaway stream.
to try it out? Okay.
Yeah.
But is YouTube streaming something? I mean, if you guys tried other streaming platforms, is it something that you'd be interested in trying? 'Cause it's very difficult to sort of build up your audience again, I feel.
I'm gonna try it this coming Monday. I'm gonna try the simulcast to YouTube, Kick, and maybe Twitter. See what happens. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I have a feeling I'll probably get more viewers on YouTube for some reason.
More viewers on YouTube than Twitch.
Well, I have more subscribers on YouTube than Twitch.
Yeah, you do have the base there already, so
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Jimmy? You think you thought of streaming on other platforms? Or
I think right now I'd be probably streaming to crickets if I tried. So that's the question. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
But yeah,
I mean, Facebook gaming is sort of taken off a lot.
gaming.
Again, I don't know if anyone really.
Is
I
that
think
even...
people only sort of watch that by accident while scrolling through. I don't think anyone actually tunes into it.
I don't know anyone who has done Facebook gaming recently.
I almost forgot they were still around, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people playing like simulator games on there. Or like arcade games. There's a very strange audience. I don't know. It's all like kind of like ASMR content as well. I don't know. But hang on, I'm pretty sure there's an Elder Scrolls Online stream team member that's Facebook gaming exclusive. I think it's like a Russian person or something.
Russian.
I think so. I'm sure on like the ESO stream team website it says like what platforms everyone's on. Maybe, I don't know. maybe this is like some kind of fever dream.
Maybe. We shall see. But yeah, I didn't. We talked enough about Twitch.
Yeah.
I think it's just something we
Yeah.
need to get off our chest. It's insane.
Yeah, it is the elephant in the room. So
Oh yeah. But yeah, back to ESO. I think we were talking about ESO before that. Before we went off on a tangent. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the old players coming back. Okay, sure. We covered that. You have any thoughts about ESO in general, Jimmy?
well, I definitely want to congratulate them on what feels like a very successful launch of Necrom. I had personally had very few issues with it, and those issues that I did have with it didn't seem to be apparently game breaking. So the Arcanist is fun. I'm digging the new Eldritch horror themed zone, and just enjoying the stuff. I haven't delved into the story yet, and I'm really looking forward to it. I usually take about 2 or 3 weeks until after console gets their hands on it, so I don't like blatantly spoil anything. It's like, oops.
That's smart.
Yeah, I'm thinking of maybe doing that in a couple weeks as well, just because spoilers. Console. Yeah. But yeah, you are right. I think Necrom chapter launched fairly smoothly.
Yeah.
Not
I mean,
as
there's
bad
that
as
bug with
other
the some of the buffs not displaying after you port zone, but you know.
Yeah, but they actually worked, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the buff is still there.
Just not showing the character screen.
Just not showing on your character screen.
Apparently, it also extends to add-ons too, because I was playing in Zerodead and my buff tracker was telling, or my add-on was telling me, "Hey, put on your buff food." It's like, wait a second, I've got 31k health. I normally have 26 if I don't have food on. So I will not put on food. Minor things though, I guess, all things considered. But
yeah, I mean, they definitely got better at releases, because I mean, for like 3 or 4 years ago, you know, the server would come online and then 3 hours later it would be down again for another 10 hours. So very much relieved that they're a lot smoother nowadays.
Indeed. Yeah, their focus on quality definitely is showing. It might just we might still pick at the small threads for sure, and those are always going to be there. But yeah, that's kind of the nature of software engineering these days. It's like you try to get out as good a quality of product as you can, and then iron out the rough bits as we go.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, you always notice the one tiny thing that's wrong rather than the 100 things that they've done right.
Exactly, especially if we're entrenched in the game like we have been for years.
Yeah. Isn't there like a quality of life update? Wasn't that part of their like yearly release schedule now? Quality of life.
I think that's next patch, I believe.
What do you think will be in that? Do you have you got any thoughts of what that could entail?
I'm definitely hoping that they'll swing around to some of these long-standing issues with the game. Ones that hit me kind of the other night had been a weird. What was I trying to remember now? My brain fog's kicking in again. But jeez, only I had more notes. Jeez, let's see here. Let me try again. So. Yeah, as far as what we know is coming out, we definitely know about the crafting table updates. So that'll be pretty nice relief for those who have massive table stores in their houses. I'd still like to hear a bit more about how that's going to come out and how that's going to be sourced for sure. But yeah, we'll get that information in time, no doubt. Yeah, I'm still a little clueless as to like what additional things they might be planning in terms of like potential revisions to existing systems. I just hope that they do focus on some of the bugs that are still outstanding. I want to commend their work in at least in the lore library space so far. I mean, they did take a good pass this patch with cleaning up a lot of the issues that were snagging us there. I think there's still a few more outstanding. I follow a thread on the forums that basically it's about almost 100 pages now about various lore books that are missing or missable during quest progression. So it's like one of those little counters that I like to check off every once in a while, and I hadn't been able to do so until recently. And hopefully I'll be able to do that this patch because of 2 books that had gotten stuck.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did the Mages Guild on Arcanist, and I don't think there was one single bugged book. So it's definitely grateful for that. I mean, I made a wish list of things that I would like to see in ESO, and I'm wondering whether if I run this past you, what you think of these things.
All right. Hit us with it.
Right, number 1, tabards should work with all chests.
What do you mean by that?
At the moment, anything after like Murkmire doesn't work.
What do you mean?
Like it's like just kind of got like a missing texture behind the chest, like the body.
With the tabard on.
With a tabard, yeah.
Do you think they're like clipping inside of the tabard or inside of the chest, or
I think they've made the models. They're not very flat, and they're too 3D. And rather than like making the tabard go around it, their solution is just, cut the chest out and just display the arms, and then put the default texture underneath the tabard. But that's quite a lot of work. So my workaround would be you can hide your tabard, and you can select which guild to display, like you can do titles. Just with like a drop down in your character screen. I feel like that wouldn't be too difficult. I don't know.
Unify the guild tabard.
Yeah. You'd have to like buy the guild tabard, I guess.
Yeah.
But then you could display it. Because I like wearing my guild tabard on every single character, but it means I have to wear like costumes or whatever. Otherwise, it looks weird.
Okay. What's rating out of 10 for this idea or wish list? I'd say 8 out of 10. Okay, sure. 8 out of 10.
It definitely falls under the want to be able to accessorize appropriately around things. So
yeah, and it's not going to like hurt anyone that if they added that in. It's not controversial. Okay, number 2, furnishings. We should be able to decon them because.
Oh, okay. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
You got me on that one too.
10 out of 10. Okay. I mean,
so many houses full of furnishings, which I think, I might use that in the future. But realistically, if I could have deconned them, I would have deconned them ages ago.
Yeah. Okay. I think they'll have to do that eventually, though, because I think about it.
It makes sense, right?
Each account has how much, right? How many furnishings and how many houses? Like, can the server take that?
Good thing.
Exactly.
I think eventually it'll approach a breaking point, just like with supposedly with the achievements. Remember that? they made the achievements account wide, to save space.
I'd like to also hang a rider on that too when you get a chance.
Okay.
They don't mark the existing furnishings as not deconstructible, similar to what they did when they added jewelry crafting.
Jesus. Yeah.
Oh God.
I still have like Alkos jewelry that I can't deconstruct.
Same.
Okay. By the way, I mean, if anyone from the lovely people at AnonNex, you can have these ideas for free. Because I mean, I was asking for a squirrel pet in game for must have been about 5 years, and now it's in. So someone's listening somewhere, I reckon. Maybe. Right. Idea number 3. This one's a bit controversial.
Okay.
PvP, Cyrodiil. Ball groups are very annoying. I would like to entice them to not run around with the scroll just farming players. So maybe if you deliver a scroll, you get like, I don't know, like a death tick wherever the scroll gets delivered to.
A what tick?
Like a defensive or an offensive
tick. A D-tick. Oh, okay.
Oh, you call them D-ticks on NA. We call them death ticks and off ticks.
Death? Like, that kind of sounds like death. Like you killed somebody. You get a tick from them. No. We say D-ticks.
Def for defensive and off for.
Oh my god! What do you players complicate things so hard? I don't get it. Okay.
Looking for 12 DDs, please. No,
Well,
it's okay.
It's plus for group. Not
Okay,
X
so
for group.
D-Ticks for returning scrolls.
And campaign scores should be weighted depending on how many people are in the campaign at the moment. So if the campaign's at 100% capacity, i.e. everyone has to queue to get in, then you get 100% of your points. But if it's only at 1% capacity, you only get 1% of your points. So at the moment, there's not really any point in playing for the campaigns because it's whoever owns the map in the morning whilst everyone's at work or asleep. They win. That seems a bit lame. And I feel like that's another reason why PvP players, they don't actually play for the campaign, just sort of play for farming players, play for the YouTube highlights.
Okay. How much AP for returning the scroll?
I want to say like 50k, but maybe that's a bit
That's really low.
low, do you
A
think?
ball
There's a
group can
lot of
farm more
effort
than that. With you know what I mean?
Yeah. Plus, there's quite the effort in just running it back if you are just a small group trying to outrun the ball.
1 million.
1 million.
Why not?
I mean, that'd be nice. But
1 million. Nice and sweet.
I think that'd be
Ball
a bit
groups
too
will
much.
run it back if they want the AP.
Yeah.
1 million. That's pretty easy. Pretty good.
'Cause I found since the Zerodead update, like, yes, it doesn't lag, but I'm not sure that the experience is any better because you have so many organized groups that if you're like a sort of solo player or just sort of playing casually, you're just going to get absolutely run over.
Yeah.
Which obviously you don't want the ball groups to have less fun, which is why I'm proposing something to make it incentivize them playing in a different way rather than taking away their fun.
I think they get the performance fix out a little bit late as well.
But about 10 years too late, maybe. But yeah.
Well, in the sense, like, okay, while people are waiting for PvP to get fixed, they're still PvPing, right? So by the time the performance is fixed, it's kind of like a short-lived euphoria, you know? Because then you realize you've done everything there is to do in PvP, because there's no real content for PvP, really.
Right, yeah.
So I suspect that'll be what happens on the EU, because that's basically what happened on PC anyway. People were like, "Oh my god, this is amazing," and then a few months later, it's like, "Well."
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to level up my
now,
Arcanist in PvP. There's only Greyhost has got any players in it. There's no one playing the other campaigns at all. I'm wondering whether that's just because everyone's doing the Necrom quests or whatever. But
or just leveling out the characters in general. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed a sharp downtick in the prime time on Greyhost on NA2 just this past week. I mean, I would queued in no problem on AD, and it's like usually I'm waiting about an hour, so it's like,
oh man, yeah. But we do have another double AP White Strikes Mayhem coming up at the end of this month, so maybe we'll see a change then. Yeah, what's that idea out of 10? I feel like maybe that's like a 6 or 7.
High 7 for me, because there needs to be more incentives to kind of break up the faction stacking at resources. At the same time, I think there might also be at that point a redirection of resources to one to running the scroll at that point. So maybe that just pushes the faction stack elsewhere. So if we can somehow kind of like come up with some ideas to what would be a good reward for that, without like saying, "Oh, this is the most rewarding thing to ever do. Go and do it."
Yeah.
We'll have like 100 GTOs in a month at that point.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
5 out of 10.
Next
5 out
one.
of 10.
5 out of 10. Fine. That's okay.
It's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag.
It's a mixed bag. Maybe not everyone would benefit from that. Okay, next one. You'll like this one. Survey reports. Okay. We have to do something about these because I'm spending 2 to 10 hours of my week picking up crafting surveys.
Okay.
Yes. I don't want to do it anymore.
What's your proposal?
My proposal is we send a companion to do it. I want to send
Okay.
Bastion or Miri to go and do it. And, you know, if it means that I can't use them for 10 hours, so be it. That's fine. Maybe it costs gold, maybe it costs something, but as long as you're getting the same amount of resources back, I think you could charge players for the time or like handicap them in some way by making them not able to use XYZ companion.
So
I can't think of another way of doing it.
Delivered surveys.
Sorry?
You want to be delivered surveys.
Yeah. Like I want to send Miri out to go and do them. I can't use her as a companion for however many hours, depending on how many surveys you want her to do. And then she just brings me back a mail with all the resources in.
What about converting the surveys into coffers or something? Maybe that'd be easier.
Maybe, but then I feel like that's too easy. Maybe. Like I feel like there needs to be some kind of time.
Shouldn't be easy though, because you already invest at least 40 minutes a day into doing 20 characters a day now, right? On your account, if you do a lot of the writs.
But you already get some instant rewards from handing in the quest. I feel like the surveys are, put in some extra time and then you get another reward.
I think also the part of the survey experience was getting people out and exploring the world, and I think there might need to be something that kind of like feeds that a little bit, at least to make everybody happy.
Yeah, this is true. And I feel like this has been something they've been working on.
Yeah,
adding quests in that make you explore the world more. Like we had those Fighters Guild, Mages Guild dailies that make you go and do the other zones. Sigic, which you do the other zones. And I feel like there's kind of enough of that now that maybe the surveys can be a bit quicker.
Yeah, I know when I do surveys, I spend a lot of time going back and forth because I'll just like stockpile a whole bunch and come back. It would be nice if we could like say just aggregate the entire stack and do it at one swell.
That's the other alternative. Yeah, like if you've got 10 in your inventory, you pick up 100 Ancestor Silk or whatever. Because it does feel weird sort of running away just the right amount and then running back. It's kind of a bit weird. I mean, what are we scoring that idea?
10 out of 10.
Just yeah. In general,
I don't know how they
would
would do it, but they gotta do something about it for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a pain point that a lot of us are feeling.
It doesn't feel like you're playing the game at that point. It just feels like you're doing a chore in the game.
Yeah, exactly. It just feels like a chore.
It is a chore. For sure.
And it can be something that it could be like a skill line, like a companion skill line, where you put in more points to make them pick them up quicker or have bonus loot or what all these things. They could definitely do something interesting with it. Okay, now the last one. This is something that I thought they were going to introduce, and then when the system came out that they had introduced, it was very disappointing. Quick slot wheel. Brilliant. They gave us extra quick slot wheels.
Okay.
Where's our quick slot wheel for sieges? Because that's the only one I wanted.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I can't fit. I mean, ideally, 2 siege wheels, like a defensive and an offensive one, or what we call them? A D wheel and a O wheel. What do you call it? D-tick. You can't fit all your potions and your sieges and your food on one wheel. So please, give us another wheel.
And being unable to swap sieges while you're stuck in combat, which is basically your entire lifetime in Zerodead anyway.
Yeah.
Being able to set up like different differential wheels would be very nice.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like, again, that's not a huge game-breaking thing. I feel like it wouldn't be too difficult to implement, but obviously I'm not a developer.
Yeah. The pattern exists. The question is how easy is it to replicate?
Yes. There you go. What do you think? I don't think Nephis even does PvP, so I don't think he cares. But
No, I mean, actually, I'd say 6 out of 10 because why? I think. Whoa, hold on. I get it, but I think a bigger priority would be to make siege weapons stack. You know how much inventory space they take up?
Yeah,
and
but I feel like
space?
that's like a balancing thing, right? Because you don't want someone with 800 ballistas sieging you, because then they never run out.
I mean, it's already like that. If you really want to do that, you can do that. It's just inconvenient for the rest of us. This is really inconvenient.
Actually, I don't think you can do that with Siege. Maybe you can. I have to remember. It's been a while. Yeah.
I mean, like camps stack, I guess, but you could only have 215 ballistas or whatever the true max is. So, I don't know. Also, you can't mark my idea down because you think you have a better one. That's
okay.
That's not how this works.
7.5 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, right. I think for the folks that I interact with in PvP, that would definitely be an 8 out of 10 for sure. Very high marks for just being able to adjust your wheels and not have to worry about like cramming everything in one little 8 slot.
I mean, the emote wheel. No one's used the emote wheel. Does anyone here use the emote wheel?
Took me a while to figure out how to put things on the emote wheel.
Yeah, that was a weird one. I mean, hopefully we'll see all these things in the next quality of life update because they're out in the public. So come on.
I mean, I think the biggest quality of life thing will be that new crafting station, right? The one where you can like deposit all your tunables into.
Yeah. I'm kind of annoyed that we're already max CP because we're not doing crafting writs anymore. We're not doing master writs anymore, so I have no vouchers.
You gotta grind your Arcanist.
Yeah, I already did that, but just doing enchanting writs, you only get about 100. How many do you need for a full set of
you also need to
stations?
level your skill lines too, and skills. That's going to be more than 100 master writs.
Don't you need to be at master level to do the master writ? Or at least max up to 50?
Yeah, 50.
Yeah. Oh, so you can max out the skill lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, I feel like how many vouchers would you need to buy a whole every attunable station? That's got to be.
It's 254, right? It's 250 for one, so 250 times 4 for one set. That's 1,000. So 1,000 per set. How many crafted sets are there? There's probably about 80-ish.
You should know this, surely. Isn't this like?
Let's just say 100. 100 times 1,000. What's that? 10,000.
What?
Sorry, 100,000.
No. Jesus.
I can't do math right now.
100 times 1,000. What's that? 10,000. No. Not quite. Nearly. But yeah, that's that's a lot of Arcanists to level.
Yeah, sure. So were those all your ideas?
Those are all my ideas.
Really? Okay.
My other idea was a squirrel non-combat pet, but they did that, so I'm happy.
Okay. I have my own list, unless Jimmy has his own list.
Jesus.
I'll make it up as I go. I'll make it up as I go. All right.
Okay, fine.
All right, yeah.
Come on then.
Number 1, ferret pets in game.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh, what? You can have a squirrel, but I can't have ferrets, bro? What the?
There's already squirrels in the game. They just have to copy paste it.
What? What do you mean? Ferrets aren't squirrels. They're not rodents. Are squirrels rodents?
No, but there's already squirrels, like squirrel critters in the game.
Okay.
Well, they did kind of scale it up.
Ferrets. There's no ferrets in the game.
Yeah, that's extra work.
Okay.
I don't know if you could
just make the squirrel longer and make the tail less long. You know what I mean? All right.
Fine. Yeah,
What's
I mean, you can have
rating?
this.
What's your rating?
I'm down for this. 8.
8 out of 10.
Ferret.
More pets, yeah, definitely.
All right. Second one. If you reach max CP, you should get benefits.
Wow.
Yeah. What do you think?
What kind of benefits?
I don't know. Brainstorm some.
Like a mount.
A mount.
Title.
Title?
Sweat Lord. No lifer. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. All right.
Because they do have achievements for champion points. Spend your first champion point in XYZ.
I'm waster.
So they could have spend your millionth champion point.
Okay. Number 3. Add more combat slottables. Or not combat, just like
What?
more useful slottables to the green tree. You know what I mean? The green tree, you don't really interact with much. You know what I mean? Like, it's mostly for, what is it, crafting, I think? Kind of?
Yeah, isn't that the point of it? Well, there's
Well,
kind
there's
of
a couple
frustrating...
combat things. Stealth and out of combat speed. And there's food duration.
Yeah, and like potion not consuming.
Yeah.
There are a few bits on the green tree already that I feel like should be more passive and not slottables, like especially when it comes to crafting and treasure seeking and whatnot. It's like you're doing that all the time, but yeah, you have to pull those off the bar so you can do your sneaky things or your what do you call it, fishing things or what have you. It kind of feels a little like busy work there.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your rating, Ollie?
I'm gonna say like 4. But I feel like the thing with the green trees, like Jimmy said, it's annoying that a lot of them aren't passive.
4 out of 10.
Yeah. But I think it's okay to have a non-combat tree. It just needs to work a bit.
Okay. I see how it is.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3. Oh, sorry, number 4 on the list. Okay. God, I don't even know what number 4 is.
Oh my god.
wait, we're talking about CP, right? Oh, 5th slottable slot. Instead of 4 slots per tree, 5.
That
Might
could probably break balance, but could be interesting.
Break
Might
balance.
be, yeah.
Okay, how about this? We'll change this idea to don't care about balancing. Make changes based on fun. You know what I mean? Like, but make everything busted. Screw numbers, screw standardization, just make everything busted. You want to nerf DK? Maybe you should buff everything else to DK level. You know what I mean?
I think at that point, question mark is like who's fun at that point, because especially if you're building that into PvP's state, your one person's fun is another person's. Oh, I'm keep getting ganked because I walk out the door and I just get annihilated because I've got everybody with 50k siege on me.
Yeah. I feel like these ideas in FS are not going to get through. Other than the ferret pet, I reckon
What's your
most
rating?
of these aren't going to happen.
What's your rating for disregarding
1,
spreadsheet
0
standardization?
Yeah.
Wow. Really? I don't know. I just okay.
Do you want people to stop playing? We want more people to play ESO.
Stop playing. Well, okay. With hybridization and standardization, everything literally feels almost the same to play. Class-wise. So is that really fun?
I've gone from playing 18 characters to about 3.
Yeah, so I don't know. Alright, last one on the list. A mythic. That's not for combat. Alright, it's for like some other purposes. That is not combat. They almost came out with a mythic during Blackwood. They didn't launch it. It was called the Hope's Harvest whatever ring. And it would let you get 15% more resources from a node if you picked up the node.
Does it work with crafting surveys? Because if so, I don't want it.
Oh, they never came out with it.
Okay.
All right, but what about a mythic that lets you suck in nodes as you walk by?
Like an auto loop, but...
Jimmy's like, this guy's a fucking idiot. Jimmy. Oh man. What? Sucking in nodes? You don't like that mythic idea, Ollie? You just kind of walk by 10 nodes. Obviously there'll be a limit to the range. Right? Like a 10 meter, 5 meter range. And you walk by the nodes and instead of picking them up, they just drop into your inventory.
I just feel like that's so prone to exploitation.
How?
You get like even more bot farmers because they wouldn't even have to think. But, I don't know, Jimmy. What do you think?
I feel like again, there's that worry of exploitation. The other question is like what is it going to look like, and how are we going to refer to it? Because somebody's just going to call it the big suck.
The big suck.
Yeah.
So that might need some workshopping there for sure.
My rating for it, 100 out of 10.
Okay, fine.
What's your rating, Ollie?
Minus 100. We need to balance it.
Like
Okay.
if I go right in the middle, it's 0. So let's see. I'd probably go for. Let's see. I'd like to see more craftable mythics, or I should say more craft-inspired mythics. So probably on the 5 or 6 on the idea. Maybe not in its presented form, but definitely in the idea of doing something to improve the drop chances of super rare things. And
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like.
All right.
And that kind of plays into like one of my wants is that they kind of go and revisit some of the super rare drops, especially years after they've been released, and look at rebalancing some of their RNG for it. I don't know anybody who has the white gold war tort, but it's still like that is still the chase on why I still find myself in Battlegrounds at all. But yeah, and on that note. I'd like to see more modes in Battlegrounds that kind of bring combat back into the focus, because I think a lot of folks will just avoid the objective to just go and smack each other in the face with swords, and that there's a place and a time for that for sure. But I think that seeing more of a combat focused as opposed to like avoiding people or trying to snag something out from somebody else. Something more combat focused might be interesting from a Battlegrounds perspective to bring more people back in there.
Yeah,
So
I'm surprised they. Sorry,
this is Jimmy's list.
This is Jimmy's list. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I just kind of broke on in here with my list. So those are my 2 major things. It's just rebalance RNG for super rare drops years later, and then. A bit more content, especially in the PvP space. Yeah, Battlegrounds, Zerodead has been long overdue for some new things as well.
Definitely.
But
yeah. I feel like with every major update, they should have been adding a battleground map. I mean, they had a companion, they had a zone, but they haven't been adding anything for PvP.
Yeah, and that also kind of chains on from their whole the issues with server performance. So now that that's kind of out of the way, I think this might, maybe not out of the way, but it's improving. This might open up more ground for working on that.
I mean, that's what they said. They won't do anything for PvP until server performance is fixed or improved.
So, a new map for a battleground that can't affect server performance, or can it? No.
I may have a hot take about Battlegrounds. I don't think they should add anything to Battlegrounds.
Oh,
I think they should
take stuff away.
I think they should rework it. I am tired of this stupid 3-way mode or 3-way format. Get rid of that. I'm sorry, it's not fun. And the map design is horrible. I don't know if it's because there's
I think it's because it's tied into the three
exactly.
The three things.
And if you look at any other game that has like any FPS even that has a one team or 2-team format, and you'll see that the level designers make it fit that format. I don't know if it's because the level designers for Battlegrounds are not good, or it's because the format forces them into making not good maps. Like, it's so bizarre to have a Battlegrounds mode for a 3-way format to me. Not only does it make it the map, I don't know, how should I say this, awkward, but also it's just not fun. It's
very difficult to balance those kind of combats too, because you might end up with a group that's very well tuned for like that specific game, and then you've got a group that is just breaking their teeth on it. And just three groups does open that up for more opportunity for the being on the losing side often.
Yes and no. I mean,
Yeah.
Once you start winning like some battlegrounds matches and your MMR goes up, and you start getting matched with the sweaty people,
Yeah.
like even if you outnumber sweaty people, they rarely will
Yeah.
lose right away.
Exactly. It's not so much a numbers game as it is a skill game, and it's hard to overcome like a huge difference in between skill.
Yeah. But yeah, the 3-way format does not work in my opinion. It's not enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean they could do like with the have special weekends where they only have one mode, because this is kind of what World of Warcraft does. They have special sort of PvP events where they'll take a PvE zone and turn it into like a 20 versus 20 PvP like instance, but just for a couple of days and then turn it off. I'm sure events where they could change the format, because I imagine they don't want to completely get rid of the 3-way thing, because it links in with the 3 banners war and sort of triple thing. But yeah, more different ways to do PvP.
True.
And just some kind of expansion of the PvP system, I think would be beneficial.
Yeah.
I guess another thing I might throw out there, although it's still haven't really come up with a good idea about how it would be feasible for trials yet, but just improvements to the LFG finder, not only just because of the weird dungeon grouping issues where people get left behind, but adding queues for things like doing certain overlaying content in a zone you're in or whatnot, or perhaps maybe just like, an auto grouper for that. Something to help kind of take a lot of that out of zone and just, bring that into like a system that people can interact with more efficiently.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah. I mean, going back to World of Warcraft again, they have like group quests in the Overland, and just on your quest log, you can click the button for LFG, and then it'll put you in a group for it. I mean, there's stuff like Craglorn that I'm sure more people would do if it was easier to get a group for it.
Or even these new Bastion Mimics. I mean, and I find folks asking for Xing up for Bastion groups, and I'll try to join one for to help out, and it's like sometimes I'll find myself just soloing the entire thing. It's like can't be bothered to go and X up in zone for something or ask for more people.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't like a trial group finder something that they've toyed with, and I think they were thinking of bringing back again. I'm sure I've heard somewhere.
Yeah, I think that might work. As it might be difficult from the perspective that there's always also that concept of like there's people queuing who aren't set up for the roles, or might be misqueued because they flagged for a role that they didn't intend to, and that trying to ease that out is going to be a challenge for sure, especially if you've got 12 people as opposed to just 4.
Yeah, it's true. How do you do a lot of like random dungeons? How do you feel when people aren't performing their role?
I actually feel kind of great because I feel I can carry the group at some points. Depends on the dungeon, of course, but if I see somebody who's having a real bad time of it, I'll try to reach out and see if I can help them out where I can. But oftentimes they won't want to hear it. There was one particularly nasty experience. Was, are you the god of ESO? I was like, no, I'm not. But I'm just trying to help out.
I'm just his son. Yeah. So I will stop queuing as a fake healer when DDs start actually dealing damage in randoms.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's toxic. But, yeah, I think that this comes again down to something we've talked about a lot, is how well the game actually teaches people to play it. Because I feel like stuff like light attack weaving and all these kinds of things you kind of don't really find out about until you go and watch a YouTube video. The game doesn't do an amazing job of teaching you all of the combat system.
Yeah, I mean, tooltips aside, I think we definitely need more advanced tutorial like encounters and whatnot, more than just learn how to block and heavy attack. But the advantages of positioning or funneling your enemies into a smaller position, so that way you can take advantage of AoE more effectively, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Building a rotation,
Mhm.
and how to use dots and spammables. I mean, I see so many people with 3 or 4 spammables on their bar. So this doesn't,
Yeah.
not quite understanding the benefits.
Yeah, so I try to do that where I can as a streamer, but yeah, I think a lot of this built into the game would help reach more players more effectively, because just a matter of more information out there, the more they can kind of gravitate towards what works for them.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would stop new players from getting frustrated if it was easier to sort of understand the system, the nuances of it.
What about sorry, go on.
Kind of on that note, I'm also kind of looking forward to the endless dungeon idea that's coming in Q4 for a lot of that. So.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Do you think that will replace people grinding Black Rose Prison for champion points?
We'll have to see how it rewards for sure. It definitely will be interesting. I don't know too much about the system other than what they said at the live ESO event and also on ESO Live. So.
Oh yeah.
What do you think it's going to look like, the endless dungeon, based on what they told us at Vegas?
Well, they think that we might see a few recycled boss encounters for sure. A couple things that kind of made me head scratch is why change the layer of Marsalok Lurcher fight? It's like that was one thing that got changed in this patch that seemed like an out of the blue thing. So it's like, it's like, I know that boss is heavily tied to that arena, so maybe in doing that they can kind of take that boss and move him out of the arena. So that's kind of like the head scratcher that I'm more trying to like paint into my head canon as to why they would want to change that fight. So that. Outside of that, yeah, I think there's probably going to be like a progression of like maybe various, I want to call them trash, but still base pop pulls for various like themed arenas. Maybe the arenas will change up over time as you go from locale to locale, and then probably be capped. Each of the areas will probably be capped off with some sort of like big boss fight.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on your minds about anything? We can talk about whatever for a little bit longer. Do we have to wrap it up here soon, though? Time flies, man. Time's been flying.
I know.
Yeah.
Super fastly. I don't know if it's just me or like each day is like, oh wow, it's already over. I don't know.
Need to get up earlier.
I did get up pretty early. 10 a.m. I don't know.
When you're having fun, I suppose.
Early. I don't know. But yeah, you guys want to talk about anything else?
I didn't come prepared to talk about too much, so.
No. You're supposed to talk a lot. How about events? ESO events. What do you guys feel about that? Do you think that needs a rework? Or just like the event tickets and all that? I don't know. Seems like the event ticket thing wasn't as bad this year though with PvP event. Usually people always complain about PvP.
Yeah, I think the White Strikes was pretty well balanced. The one that came before it, I'm trying to remember what it was now because my mind's slipping on me.
Before that?
Yeah. It felt like they put a lot of new stuff into the Jesters Festival, but didn't think about padding out the ticket cost for that, because it's like, it seemed like it was mathematically impossible to get it all yourself unless you were trading or selling or doing something else on the side to acquire all the things, and sometimes that's not what people want to do. I'm kind of one of those people who likes to complete everything as I can. So it's like, gosh, it's like, well, I guess I can do this and that and trade this for that, and I have an alt account if things get worse. But Yeah.
Yeah, the drop rates are definitely a bit skewed because I noticed those Breton Terrier bones during White Strakes Mayhem. I ended up with something like 350 of them by the end of the event.
I have no idea what I'm going to do with them.
Yeah. If you turn, if you collect 1,000, you can make the Mega Dog or something,
Or, since they are mammoth bones, collect 1,000, you build yourself an entire mammoth.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Yeah, like one you could path around your house or something.
Yeah.
What about like mounts? Do you guys want to see any particular mounts? People are more and more each day wanting a Wamasu mount.
Yeah.
That was a big ask in my RP guild way back when. Wamasu
Yeah.
mount.
I think if they do a Wamasu mount, it should be a multi-rider mount. Like 12 people on the Wamasu. It's long enough. It's big enough.
An earnable multi-rider mount.
True.
Yes. That would be nice. That would be very useful, actually. Yeah. Yeah, definitely more multi-rider mounts would be good. Isn't there's a mount for doing like the main quest in Necrom, isn't there?
Yes, for the zone completion, which is nice.
What is it? Is it a Nixox? Isn't
Yeah, it's a glowing barrel Nixox.
The worst model. No.
You think so? I think the worst model.
They're creepy. I don't like them. They're weird.
I think the worst model is the worst, to be honest with you.
The horse.
Yeah,
the old horses look a bit weird. Like the heads are a bit heavy looking.
It's just in general. It's like horses. Oh wow,
I like a horse. It's very role play friendly.
Maddie wants a Chimera. The second boss in VOC.
Oh yeah.
Rideable Chimera, I can say that. Yeah.
Yeah, that could work. Man, that's another elephant in the room. Rewards. Do you remember in Vegas, Jimmy, when during the Dev AMA panel, a lot of the questions had to do with rewards.
Oh really?
Oh.
Yeah.
I actually missed a lot of that because that was my slot for playing on the.
Right, you were streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't streaming. I was playing the Arcanist, the build upstairs.
The testing. Yeah.
So I missed half of that, and I came back for the latter part.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess take my word for it. There were a lot of questions and rewards from a lot of people.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
I think hopefully they do something about that to retain more long-term interest from more people.
Yeah. Definitely need something to kind of glom onto, and I think they did a fairly good job with what they did with Necrom for sure. There seems to be something out there for everybody. Although I'd like to see them do a bit more than just skins or things for hard modes and achievements like that. I mean, they are kind of like the the hardest stuff that we're working on. So having something a bit flashier that folks can show off in some way, shape, or form, But all in all, I think they did a pretty good job about improving on that, and I'd like to see further in the future.
Yeah, to start for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think they are slowly moving in the right direction because, like, we saw the reward boxes for the Tales of Tribute card game. They were much more useful than previous reward boxes, and like we just said, the mount for doing this achievement, that's something they've not really done before, other than for like those hard trials. Moving in the right direction, I think, little by little.
Yeah.
All right. You guys want to start wrapping it up? Any final thoughts or anything? Any questions?
Well, say thanks for having me, and thank you everybody for all of the support on the drive to get into the ESO stream team. I didn't want to turn this into a soapbox or anything, but I want to say thank you so much. Man.
My allergies are killing me. That's all I'm going to say. Sorry, what did you say, Jimmy?
Oh, I didn't say anything. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
We said thank you for the stream team. Yeah. If people want to see more of you, Jimmy, where can we find you?
Twitch TV/JimmyJJShabadu. I also post regularly on Twitter for as long as that still remains active. Yes.
I think Twitter will be fine.
Yeah. It's been an interesting roller coaster this year for sure.
I wasn't sure either, to be honest. When Elon Musk took over, I was like, where's this going? And I think it's gonna be okay as long as they don't do anything too dumb with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's been a little bit less mad since Elon handed over the creative director or whatever it was.
CEO.
CEO, was it? Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep, those are the two main places. Maybe eventually YouTube in the future. I just need to find some hours in the day that I can pull together to not only learn video editing better, more effectively, but also to produce.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, guys.
Clyde says, congrats, Jimmy, on stream too. Here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can we go back to the suck idea? I'm all for it, honestly.
Big suck. Okay. So just walking around with your vacuuming up all the resource nodes that you get to.
I think it's a wonderful idea. Maddie says, I have a question for, I guess, for Jimmy. Who's coming to help me get my HH? What's HH?
Hurricane Herald?
Oh, VDS.
I thought you were putting that group together.
Oh, okay.
Oh, jeez.
I thought you were putting that together, Maddie.
I can come. I've got 20 champion points on NA now. So
Sweet. Not enough, right?